If you were a billionaire, the owner of a global logistics firm, a social media empire, or a multinational bank, how much of your day would you be spending thinking about the person at the bottom? The common answer is never, but the truth might be a little bit more calculated. They might not think about your well being, but they think about your behavior constantly because you are the fuel to this machine. And in the 20th century, the contract was pretty simple. They produced, you consumed. But in the 21st century, the product isn't as simple as cars or shoes. It's the predictive power of when you'll buy them. Your personal information is the new oil. If a mega corporation can predict your spending with about 90% algorithmic accuracy, they've essentially pre-sold their entire inventory before you even knew that you wanted them. Through metadata and cross-platform tracking, these algorithms don't just see what you buy, they know your intent before you even open the app. But there's a problem. The contract is breaking. We are consuming way less, not just physically, but digitally as well. We are seeing a massive engagement cliff. Despite more content being posted on Instagram and Threads and LinkedIn than ever before, actual human traffic and deep interaction are stalling. People aren't just distracted anymore, and they're becoming immune to these old tricks. Part of the shift comes down to a very simple question. What can we actually afford? It's an interesting conundrum. Most of us are materialistic, myself included. I try not to be, but I have my weaknesses. But try to notice for a second that the nature of how we consume has changed. We used to save up our money for a house or a car, tangible status symbols that meant something. And now, because they're so damn unaffordable, we settle for micro status symbols. We buy the new phone every year, the specialized accessories, the brand name clothing. And by doing so, we've traded long-term stability for short-term hits of dopamine. And it's a fair argument to say that as long as we're still chasing these micro status symbols, the elites still have a string that they can pull. And this is known as the lipstick effect. And the lipstick effect is a good argument as to why the elites haven't lost complete control yet. How did they begin to lose us? Well, they began to optimize for the wrong thing. For a decade, algorithms have learned a very simple yet cynical truth. Outrage equals attention. And if they could make you angry, then you'll stay on the app. But they overshot their mark. They pushed that outrage dial so far that it didn't just break the dial, it broke the audience. And it turned into fatigue. We could only take so much rage before our minds become numb. It's like a muscle that's been overtrained. Eventually, it just stops responding. And it's not that rage bait creators can't be successful. More often than not, they usually are. But the quality of the audience is changing. The people that seem to value their time and their mental health are deciding to move on, seeking substance over short-term dopamine. Studies show that approximately 60% of people aged 18 to 34 are experiencing scroll fatigue. And this isn't just being tired of your phone. It's the cognitive realization that AI slop and the manufactured fury inside of your phone is a very poor trade for life. Think about it like the superhero movie phenomena. The first few were fun, right? But once you've seen the same formula, the same stakes, and the same CGI battles 50 times, you just stop caring. The outrage machine has kind of become the same way. Every headline is world ending. Every post is shocking. And when everything is an emergency, nothing is. This has led to a narrowing of thought, a unilateral world where everything is black and white, and we're bored of it. We see this boredom reflected in the elites' maneuvers. 10 years ago, a celebrity endorsement or a manufactured political stunt would capture the world for weeks. Today, we see these campaigns are flopping. We see through the influencer filter. We see the PR stunt behind the political headline. And the veil isn't just thinning, it's tearing. As a society, we're becoming enlightened to the puppet masters that have kind of controlled global policy for decades, if not centuries. We're seeing these patterns, whether it's the redacted names in the Epstein files, or the blatant insider trading among public servants, or the calculated divisiveness of modern politics. We see the greed, we see the corruption, and we see the desperation. The spell of the elites only really works on us if we believe that they're smarter and better than us. But they have been recently extremely clumsy. But their recent clumsiness hasn't proved that they are smarter. It's proved that they're getting more desperate. Imagine a group of people at the top of every major bank or tech firm. They have near unlimited resources and algorithms that can outthink a human brain in milliseconds. But the data is showing something that the algorithms should have anticipated but couldn't. Evolution and adaptation. With more information becoming available, our level of awareness changes. Consider ancient Roma. Panem et circenses, which is a rough translation of bread and circuses, and I mean rough, which hails from 100 AD. Distract the people with a full belly and entertainment, and they won't pay attention to politics. For a long time, they've held dominance over politicians and small businesses alike. And the elites weren't always the people with the most money. They could have been the heads of major religious institutions, or pharaohs, or emperors, or those who had great art. Because power and excessive resources would follow whatever the status symbol was at the time. You can tell when a system begins to lose power because it becomes more clumsy or noisy. As these billionaires begin to lose their grip on our attention, they'll grab at anything to stop the bleeding. This is why we see narratives pushed so aggressively and desperately. They make errors and contradict themselves in real time because now they're trying to manage a more sophisticated public with archaic tools. And right now is our opportunity. And there is a flaw in this machine. You can't bread and circuses a population who is no longer interested in the circus. This is why we see the error of desperation. They are pushing narratives so aggressively and often so contradictorily because now the old scripts are not working. They are flooding our feeds with AI slop, this mass-produced, soulless content, hoping that volume will replace the lost value of attention. But as we discussed, the veil is tearing. And when the circus becomes a chore to watch, the audience begins to look for the exits. Look at the ratings of mainstream media and box office Hollywood. Entire industries are shifting overnight because they're becoming irrelevant to the modern mind. We're not seeing riots in the streets as much as we're seeing the silent exit. People are just simply placing their attention elsewhere. Because your biggest weapon isn't the protest, it's disengagement. As we discussed on this channel before, pausing before reacting, it gives you a neutral perspective. Once you realize that you're being manipulated, the spell becomes broken. And this isn't just a mental shift, this is a lifestyle shift. First, you disengage from the division. The elite class benefits from your anger. When you refuse to be outraged by your neighbor, you starve the machine of its fuel. Number two is a conscious consumer. If a company, bank, or news agency portrays a narrative that you know is incorrect or manipulative, then you have the ultimate power, the power to walk away. If enough people boycott the distraction will be forced to change. Think about how fast a viral news story falls apart now than compared to 20 years ago. In the past, a narrative would last for years. It would be a part of the social contagion. Now, it lasts maybe 48 hours before people begin to realize that it's incorrect. That is the power of our collective awareness. Finally, understand globalism. We are becoming more aware about how these intricacies tie together, from big pharma to big oil. Awareness is the first step to sovereignty. The battle for your attention is failing because you're waking up. This machine, whether it be society or the systems within, the elites and their media or political counterparts, computer algorithms or the devices that you use them on, begin to fail when you begin to see the inner workings and understand that those who produce are the product of the system, which likely resides from an industrial age mentality, where production is seen as paramount. Meanwhile, everything around us is suggesting that automation is the future. There's a massive cultural shift that's happening all around us right now. So, it's safe to say for many that the elite's battle for your attention is failing. But for some, they are still complicit and complacent. Panem et circenses. They remain distracted, divided, and polarized. But the more that we expel neutrality and reasonability, then the more that they'll catch on.